I think it's difficult. So the government will be looking at this and saying that if we don't do anything about it, then people can use the word government, set up governments, and operate with government. So maybe that's where they're coming along to stop that aspect of it. But on the other hand, you have to be very careful when you go to suits, because what you then do when you go is that you actually make people a lot more popular by now going, because then they start saying that you're persecuting them. What are you afraid of? Why are you doing this? And also a discussion should have handled.
For people who look at it and say your party, this is a broader objective of your party to further be hostile to dissenting voice. Do they have a point in that?
I think that's a difficult one. So one of the things that you're seeing is that as people pot over, as parties become stronger and bigger and all of that, their voices become a lot louder, while the dissenting voices become smaller and smaller. And so you have to be very careful as a big government organization, once you're bigger and bigger, to make sure that you are listening and making people also feel that they do have a voice. And I think where we're seeing a challenge now is the ability to manage when you're absorbing a lot of people into a party, and the voices that should be sounding louder on the outside are now getting smaller. So yeah, people will complain.
Okay, so let's talk about something that I started off talking about yesterday, and that has to do with what happened at the National Assembly, in the House of Reps, where what I read online, a couple of people are not happy because I think Yaga Africa even put out a statement saying it's going to be draconian as far as the intentions are good, to compel people to go out there and vote, making vote mandatory in that sense. But putting out a penalty such as jail term, they say it's a bit draconian. What's your perspective on this?
I think it's difficult to legislate that. It's going to be so you can put it in law, but then it becomes extremely difficult for you to implement it. Now take a system where probably we have voter apathy that goes up to 60–70%. I don't think we have enough jails to put people into jail for all the people that say that they will not do it. So I think we need to address this situation differently. People go out to vote when they know that they will get something positive out of who they are voting for, or a system that seems to be just and open. So as politicians, we need to be able to encourage people to come out to vote because they believe that their votes will count, rather than to legislate it and say that you must come and vote, if not you will go to jail. I think it will be very difficult to implement.
Don't you think that what the lawmakers should focus on, there are gray areas in the Constitution that politicians are taking advantage of, that they should look at? For instance, the issue of defection. It looks like the law is inconveniencing political class, because forget ideology, it doesn't exist in Nigerian politics. Nobody can convince me otherwise. We have seen it over and over. People may have personal ideologies. So I used to give a clear example, like economic ideology. Muhammadu Buhari is more of the right in his economic ideology. Bola Tinubu is more of the left. Bola Tinubu is more of the right. Muhammadu Buhari is more of the right in that sense. So the things that I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, shouldn't we start legislating over the issue of defection? Because there's a proviso. One, the Constitution talks about freedom of association. That's one element of you can associate as you like. Then the 106, 109, section 109, 1G, that gives a proviso of division in a party as a premise for defection. So that has now been exploited. Don't you think we should begin to look at that? Shouldn't the lawmakers legislate about themselves rather than trying to force people to vote or otherwise?
I think it even goes deeper than that, if you ask me. Yes, there are many things that we should look at, but I personally feel that the very foundation upon which we have built our entire political story, history, and all of that is fundamentally wrong in the first instance. And that's because we have gone and we have imported a system of politics that is based on ideology, is based on understanding freedom, is based on being able to move anywhere in your natural borders and become from that location. So we have taken an American policy, for example, and that's what we have adopted. I can move to America today, have children there, live in Milwaukee, spend time, and in a few years I can run for office in Milwaukee. I cannot move to next door Yenegua and say that I want to go and run in Yenegua from Rivers State. So we have already misaligned our political values in the first instance, and that's why ideology is difficult. We need to go back to the very foundation of our culture and begin to build a political system from there. Until that is done, until we have a very, very serious discussion about who we are, what we are, and what type of politics we want to operate, our own Nigerian-built politics, this one is going to be very difficult. So yes, we can sit down and legislate it. We can sit down and look at the issue of defections. We can look at ideologies. We're never going to answer that problem.
Because Trump had gone to the Gulf, went to Abu Dhabi, went to Riyadh. I think Abu Dhabi was the last stop. He had gone to Riyadh, gone to Qatar, and secured hundreds of thousands of deals, I think even trillions of deals in that sense. But one of the things he said when he was in Saudi Arabia that caught my attention, which is what I wanted to speak to. He said the MBS, the Crown Prince, had made a modern miracle the Arabian way.
Thank you.
How should we begin to build Nigerian democracy the Nigerian way?
I wish I can come and hug you right now. Because you see, until we understand it, think about it, every successful economy, every successful country has built a system of government that is unique to them. The Arabs, they were trying to force them at the beginning that they must adopt American system of democracy. They said, to hell with you. We are going to develop a system that is based on our culture. And that's what they developed. American system is based on the American culture of freedom. The British system is based on the British system of monarchies. The French system is built on the French system of a revolution. Every single one is different. The Chinese system is built on a system of understanding 5,000 years of coming in. So they have a one-party state, but on merit. Clear, absolute merit from when they were children. The Nigerian system should be built on our culture. The culture of the Calabari man. If I live as a Calabari man and I go into Odo State and you start telling me about your Yoruba culture, I will understand it naturally. I would understand what it means to have a hierarchy. You don't need to tell me much about it. So what do we need to do? Let us build an African, Nigerian, focused political system. And we have had it. We had a political system before the Europeans came. We had a political system even when the slave trade was going on. We had a political system when the Europeans were here. So what are we running away from? We know what to do.
So what is this political system for the younger people who may not even understand what you're talking about?
First of all, this American system that we call presidential system in Nigeria, we need to go and readdress it. We cannot import a parliamentary system of the UK and it will work here. We cannot import a presidential system. It will not work here. Ask every African in their country, are they satisfied with the political system that they have and the democracy they have? They will tell you no. Why? Because it is contrary to who we are. Absolutely contrary.
Is it the operation of the system or the inability of the drivers of the system to deliver on dividends of democracy? Because those are two different things.
Two different things. The system, right, can be so easily exploited by a few. This particular system, you have not built institutions that are ever going to hold it to account. The institutions that are built on a different... So we're building institutions that are modeled along the British system. The British system is not our system. When they want to get an elder, somebody to lead in your village, they say, you sit down and you bring that person to go and represent. And everybody knows who that person is. They know from their father to their mother who they are. And they know if you are the eldest and you are a vagabond, the same system will say, no, you cannot go in. But in this system, I can bring a vagabond, put him in as local government chairman, swear him the system, the whole community cannot say one word. And I'll say, go and vote. And the next thing, the vagabond becomes the local government chairman.
So does this give credence to people who say we're running a system of plutocrats and kakistocrats? I think it was Alain Dume. Those big grammar. Alain Dume was speaking about.
My brother, we're running a system that we're not being true to ourselves.
Okay.
Okay? And the truth is that we individually and instinctively know. Do you know that you have more respect for your chief, your king, your local traditional ruler than you have for the elected officials? Why? Why do we do that? Because we know that when the system works locally and you bring out the proper leader in that system, voted, The council of chiefs or whoever sit down, the community agree that this one, from the line that is coming through, this is the family that I must bring it in, and all of that, they respect it. When that system, somebody goes and plays wayo within that system, they don't respect it. Everybody knows. And that is what we are seeing.
So it's time to bring our traditional institutions back into the system.
We must create a political system that is built around it so that we understand it, and that will work for us.
That reminds me of what, is it Uganda now, the